Welcome to the Life Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson. A couple of clean comedians here to support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. They'll talk about highs and lows and some traumatizing shows. So get ready, get set, let's go! All right. Welcome to the Laugh Support Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network. I'm your host, June Colson, here with the amazing Michele with one L VanDusen. How you doing,
That'd
sister?
be me.
That's
I'm
you.
Good. How are you doing? It feels like forever since we've spoken.
It has.
Right?
We've had a little gap here, haven't we?
Just a little gap. Not like we were on a break, not like that kind of a gap.
It's not you, it's me. I just need a break, Michele.
It's not us. It was Rhonda. So let's just put that out there.
We'll get into Rhonda Corey here in a little bit. Yeah, it's so much about her because it's always about her. Ask her; she'll tell you.
It is. It's all about. She's gonna hate us for this podcast.
Now back to me. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about Rhonda. We have so much to talk about. We've had we've had this kind of time of traveling, and of course we had several episodes recorded, ready to go live, and
we went live. We went live now.
Yes, we went live. Michele made that happen. And also we did a live broadcast through StreamYard for the very first time, and it went off with zero problems.
That is incorrect.
It was on my birthday. There were lots of hiccups, but it was still so much fun. Like even with the, because I think people look at us and they go, those two girls are perfection. They're perfect. They never mess up, So that was just kind of God's way of showing people that nobody's
we
perfect,
make mistakes.
Right,
we make mistakes. We had to lower the bar a little bit, let people know, hey, we're real. We're real humans. We're trying to do life just like you. Well, not just like you, but we have a podcast. I mean, we're our listeners.
Yes, this is true. This is true. But yeah, it's been a busy time. One thing, on a serious note that we definitely want to recognize now, this is coming several weeks after. However, the Hot Breath Comedy Network also has had a group for a long time. The Comedy Writers Room, Write 10 is what it's been called. And actually, one of the graphics that came across the screen that we had, our friend PJ Keene had helped us, right, to create this graphic. And very sadly and unfortunately, several weeks ago, PJ passed away. Yeah. And, we call this podcast Laugh Support. And it was heartbreaking. PJ had just such a fun spirit about him. When he became a friend, he was very, he was there. He was all in. He touched a lot of lives in a very short time while he was in this comedy writers group. And it was tough. It was tough to see the comedians really hurting. But on a positive note, we talk about laugh support. Man, Michele, didn't you notice how many people gathered around, because they were obviously, certain comedians became really close to him and did lots of, events with him and even gave him a place to stay and they were hurting. And I recall, the day after there was a Zoom. And all these comedians kind of bounced in the room. I was having technical difficulties, so I was there,
which is normal.
But yes, always. I had, I didn't have my camera on. I didn't have my audio on, but I was able to just observe and listen and watch as these comedians mourned for the death of their friend. And so there were tears and there were heartfelt conversations, but then there was also some really inappropriate jokes, which is what comedians do, right? They go there, they do the dark joke, because we have found that that laughter is healing. We know that it's healing. And so I think that, I do believe that God knew what he was doing by placing PJ in this group of comedians. I had several conversations with PJ. He's that person who would just, want to tell you you're doing great. And I know that he connected with you, Michele. So that was a big loss. And we didn't want to do this episode right, without acknowledging such a great person and the effect that he had on so many people.
No, I don't know if you knew this, but PJ was our first and foremost huge fan of Laugh Support, because when we asked him to create the logo, or we were trying to work with him on getting our logo created, he actually, I think it was in the pro group, he actually said, "Hey, and don't forget, June and Michele have a podcast coming out." And then I was like, "What'd you do?" He's like, "Oh, did I let the cat out of the bag?" I'm like, "Just a little," but it was okay because it was way before. We were just talking about it, just trying to get the logistics of things. And he's like, "You guys have to listen." I was like, "Whoa."
Yes. Yes, because that's the kind of personality he had. He was just very he was just loving and supportive, and he wanted people to do well. And, it's really cool because sometimes in comedy, people, they try to lift themselves up by standing on someone else, by stepping on people or climbing over someone.
That's why I'm so short. No.
That's why I'm Michele. You can climb easier, like you fit in small spaces. But he just wasn't somebody like that. He wanted people to really succeed. And so, in this episode, we dedicate this episode of Laugh Support to PJ Keene and to his family. So but we have been apart a little bit. We've been going different directions. Let's talk about Provo. What happened in Provo? Okay, first of all, I didn't think that they would legally allow you and Rhonda, Corey, and myself in the same state. I thought that there was like some sort of like national law that said,
it was a state law.
It was so great because we haven't been able to like physically be in the same space, like to just give each other a hug and sit down and have a meal together. And we did it. And it was awesome. And they didn't kick us out. So tell them where we were. Tell everybody, where were we at? Why were we in Provo? What was going on?
Okay. So we, my husband and I, Ross, we drove to Provo. You flew there and Rhonda flew there.
On a plane.
On a plane, not on the back of a rainbow or something.
Most people think that's how I travel. They're like, she just flies on her unicorn from place to place.
I was thinking, go ahead. I think Red Bull gives you wings or something like that.
It would be.
But I don't know if I should have said that. A color of a bull. No, because we don't have any sponsors for the show.
No.
Whoops. So Rhonda was going to film her DryBar special, which is filmed in Provo, Utah, which if you haven't heard of DryBar comedy, you need to download the app, and it's clean comedy. It's family friendly, basically. And so they film their specials, and then a few months later, then they release them. And so it's always filmed in front of a live audience.
Yes.
And I wasn't going to be able to go, but I talked about it like way back at the beginning. I'm like, "Hey, Rhonda, I just want you to know where my heart is. I would love to be there for you." And just that in itself just kind of blessed her. And then talking a little bit with you, coming to find out you were going to be going. I'm like, "Oh, good.
Yeah.
I don't have to try to figure out how to be there or not feel bad for not being there because you're going to be there. So this will be perfect." Yeah. So I knew that Rhonda had some support, some
life support. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I know her husband wasn't going. So I was so excited that you were going to be there. And then my schedule changed because I was supposed to be headed to Chicago, and then that didn't happen. And it was by the grace of God that my husband was able to get 2 weeks off. So not only did he just drive me to Provo, we took like a trip. We went to like 12 states,
took a trip. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't even want to talk about some of the stuff she packed to travel for. We're just not even going to go there.
We were going to go camping to save on hotel bills, kind of a thing. It was the first day we didn't. I found a tick right away, and I'm like, I'm not camping. So
one tick. And it's one over.
And it was over. We didn't even
feel you though. I
yet.
hate them.
All we did, we drove through Kansas. We stopped at the Big Ball of Twine, and then we were going through Nebraska, I think, and we stopped at Carenge and then stopped off at the bathroom, got some gas, fill up. And that's where I found the tick. I'm like, that's it. We're not camping. So I was making phone calls like, okay, I need to make reservations. So,
oh my gosh, I wish I would have knew you were going to talk about the tick, because I found a book that traumatized me as a child that my grandma gave me. And it's a book about a tick, and he's the main character. But the tick is like, hi, I'm a tick, and I like to bury my head in your skin and suck your blood. And it's like, it was so devastating. There was another book she gave me, no kidding, that was about rabies. And it was like this cartoon about like, this guy got rabies, and it's a little boy and this dog bit him, and it showed him getting shots in his stomach. And I'm like, why, Grandma? Why? Like, I didn't get the Disney, stories at bedtime. I got, there's ticks that can stick their head in your flesh and suck your blood, and you can get disease and die. But it was happy cartoons that told the story.
And your name is June Bug.
Yes, it's such a sad irony that that's my name. I am so I fear every bug.
We got our son when he was littler, because my husband's a carpenter, and so and they boys like to tinker and know how things work. So they're tearing things apart or trying to put it together. So there was this book about plumbing, and how that works in your house. Well, the little guy that reads it to you, or the narrator of the story, he shrinks down and goes into the toilet, into the pipes, and going, oh, well, these are the pipes, and brings you out to this, that. He was forever afraid of the toilet for a really long time. Oh my
gosh.
Because he thought he was going to shrink down and go into the toilet, into the...
I think, did you not have that fear as a child? Did you not fear that you would be sucked down the drain with the water?
No, I was afraid of swimming in pools.
Yeah.
Because I was the youngest, and so my brothers, if we're playing in a pool or whatever, they would always just pull me under, and they'd yell shark attack. And that would freak me out. So I could only go swimming without them there. And
I always feared. I was going to be sucked down the drain. And then we moved into this house recently, and it has the best soaking bathtub. And I've not been a bath person. I just take a shower. I don't have the attention span for a bath. But I figured out in this bathroom, I can set up my iPad, and I can play a video, and I'm like, I'm going to actually become a bath person. I'm going to be that woman who soaks in the bubble bath, right? And so I had the most relaxing, it's perfectly fit. I'm really tall, and my legs are long, and my legs fit, and the curve of the tub is perfect. And I thought, this is the best bathtub ever. Michele, I was so relaxed at the end of the, bath. And
then you got sucked down the drain. No.
And then I disappeared. Well, then I hit the thing with my foot, and I was just going to let the water kind of drain a little bit before I got out. And when I hit it, it went, it scared me to death. I jumped out like the 5-year-old little girl. I was so afraid of being sucked down the drain. I was like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And now if I take a bath, I will hit the button and I run. I put a towel on first, It scares me to death. What that has to do with anything, I don't know. Back to what we were talking about, Rhonda, Corey. Okay, we were in Provo.
Rhonda and traveling.
And ticks. Okay, so you took a long trip with your husband. I flew there. You took a long trip.
And I have some pictures. I have some pictures.
Show us.
Because not only did we travel, but where we stopped. So this first spot here, this is Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, who are those guys in the background?
People.
You were photobombed by...
Yeah, so I know Washington and Lincoln, and then the other two.
Yeah, those guys. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, those guys. I didn't look at y'all.
Is this the beginning? Is this the beginning of the trip?
This is this is the second day. So
yeah, day 2. Look at those smiles. You can tell it's day 2. I wish you would have sent us a picture of the last day. Look at that. You're so happy. You don't realize that you're going to be on the road with your man for days and days. Okay, so there we are. We're happy.
Days and stays. Yeah, and so this is one of the spots that I actually did some comedy, and it was an impromptu, like a pop-up comedy tour, basically. And standing there looking at something. We just started talking with some people, and I'm like, hey, this is one of my on my bucket list to do comedy in front of these guys. They're like, I asked me, you want to hear some jokes? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I just started doing comedy there. It was a really short set. And there was a local school that they were having their graduations there. And I have to tell you, when they sang the national anthem, everybody stood. Everybody was singing, and it was just the most glorious moment, listening to that, watching the flag wave, looking at this monument. It was just, it brought tears. It was really, really good.
Here's the deal, though. You can now legitimately say, like I would be saying, this is Michele VanDusen. She's done comedy in front of 4 different presidents. That would be on my website right now. Like, you need to put that on there. Michele has performed comedy in front of 4 different presidents. They were dead, and it was statues, but they were, you did it.
They didn't crack up. If that's what you're wanting to say there.
When has comedy ever cared about facts, though? You know what I mean? Like, the fact is,
take the truth and just,
the fact is business.
Yeah, that is a fact.
Okay, so you did comedy in front of Mount Rushmore, and then what?
And this one is actually after Provo. This one is at Grand Canyon in Arizona.
Okay, let me point out, this is after Provo. So you guys have been on the road how many days?
I believe this is day 9.
9, and you are where, Michele?
Grand Canyon.
No, you're standing where in this picture?
Oh, it's at I think it was called Angel Cliff. Maybe. And my husband.
You're at the bottom. Yes, Michele. And your husband is
way up there at the top. Yeah. And the ladies behind me were part of my third audience, because I actually did I did comedy at the cliff, like where you could just see the end, you could just drop off. I did comedy there for one set of group of people. And then as you're going back up, it was really steep. I was having a hard time breathing. I'm like, I'm going to take a break in the shade. So me and these ladies are actually sitting in the shade. All of our husbands are actually up at top, checking out the sights and stuff.
Yes.
And then so a couple more people gathered, and I'm like, you guys want to hear some comedy? They're like, yeah. And so I did comedy for them too. So I actually did 2 shows. 2 sets at the Grand Canyon.
Yes, at the Grand Canyon. I just love the fact that at day 9, you're not taking a picture together. He's so tiny at the top of that cliff. And part of me feels like he's going, I can't do another day of this.
He did sit down up there for a while. Like, he sat down and had his legs dangling because he saw me talking with these ladies. And part of it was I was trying to catch my breath to go up the rest of the hill.
But I'm projecting. Okay, so I'm projecting my relationship onto you. You could have been wonderful on day 9. I can tell you by day 9, if Jason and I had been in a car together for 9 days, looking at rocks, like one of us would have been buried under a rock by the end of the trip. Well, it wouldn't have mattered which. We would have killed each other for 9 days.
It would have been different if we were camping, but we ended up staying at hotels. That was a big difference right there.
I'll give you that.
In fact, this weekend happens to be Father's Day weekend, and Ross and the boys are going to be actually going back to Colorado for the weekend, out in the woods, out to the mountains again. So I'm not
without
going.
you, huh?
Without me.
Nice.
Let me tell you why. So this next picture, this is a train that we were on in Colorado, and it was the Durango to Silverton train. And I did comedy on here twice also. And I did a little tour guiding too. And the little group that was on our train, because it was at like 12 cars or something. And this was like coach kind of. So it's, seats are narrow, and it's an old train, and it's rickety, and it took 45 minutes to get like 10 miles. You know what I mean? Like, it took a long time to get up. No, it took 3 hours. What am I saying? It took 3 hours for us to get from Durango to Silverton, and it should take you like a half hour. That's what it was.
Got it. So how long was your set? How long did you do?
Well, I got a lot of heckling on this one.
Because they're like, we came to see the sights, ladies. Sit down.
No, I asked, and they're like, yeah, do it. But then they're like all adding their own stuff in. Like I'd say something about homeschooling, or like my first thing is I'm a recovering mother. I have 5 boys at home, and the one guy goes, "You mean an escaped mom?" Like they're just trying to add things to it. It was really a lot of fun. Crazy people. So that was one. But I do have to say, and then
that's such a cute picture. Yes. Okay, so describe it so people, because it's a podcast, not everybody's going to see it.
So that's right. Yeah. So this picture, I'm standing in front of I don't know, 6 or 7 people, and we're at the base of a waterfall. And this is also in Colorado. I don't know what town I'm in. This is right after I had a huge meltdown because we were driving on the $1 Million Mile Road, which is a mountain road that has no guardrails. And it is you have the mountain on one side on the you have the direction we were going. So you have the mountain on the driver's side and then a sheer drop off on my side.
Yes, I can't do it.
Sheer drop. I was doing pretty good. But then I said something about, because I read the road signs as we drive and I take pictures along the road to kind of help me get my mind off of what we're doing. And so I'm reading, road narrows. And then my husband said, well, of course, that's how mountains work. If you're going to be an animal, everybody likes the wide roads. And as it goes narrow, not everybody can make it to the top. Not everybody can make it to the top was what was in my head.
No.
And he did like a little jerk with the wheel, not to freak me out, but because he's driving and he's trying to keep us safe. Well, that flipped me out. I'm like, because I'm looking at the cliff, and I'm like, anytime I go, well, now he thought I was criticizing his driving. I'm like, no. But what's going through my head is it's a narrow road. Not everyone's going to make it to the top. Apparently, I'm not good enough for God. Like I went through all the things
my gosh.
that could go
I'm the
through.
same way though. I can't and my husband looks, he veers towards what he's looking at. Right? So if he was looking off the cliff, we're going to go off the cliff. We drove in Alaska like that. We do, in Gatlinburg, there's a couple times we've been in the last couple of years, and we've stayed at the same place and drove up the same road to avoid traffic. But basically, it's like sit in traffic and be safe, or risk your life and get out of town a little bit quicker. And he chooses the risk your life. Let's get out of town a little. But you feel everything. You feel every little jerk. Okay, so you did. Okay, so you did. And the faces in that picture, because people who are listening to the podcast and not watching on YouTube, they look so engaged, and they were just smiling and laughing. And I love that picture. It was such a fun picture.
It was such a fun time because I sat down at the base of the waterfall. There was a bench there, and this lady sat down, and we're both a little heavier. But see, I also have an issue with my hip, so I can only do so much walking, especially like I can go up the hill. That's not a problem. It's the coming down. It adds an extra thing. And then, I need ice for hours after that. So, I got to the bench, and I'm like, I'm going to stay here. You go ahead and go up the rest. I'll just take pictures of the waterfall from here. Cause it was beautiful.
Yes.
It was absolutely beautiful.
No man left behind. He was like, all right, peace out.
He left me on a lot of occasions. I'm like, you go, here's the camera, but this time I kept the camera. He just had his GoPro. Some of the GoPro videos you hear, because he's huffing and puffing up these mountains.
Yes.
So it cracks me up.
Nice.
And I'm like, if I was with him, you'd hear it doubly. Actually, you'd probably hear like, Michelle, are you okay? Wake up. Like, because I'd be passed out because it was pretty intense.
Somebody call 911.
Did you know? Well, because the air's thinner up at the top of the mountains. And I'm very disappointed to say, and I don't know if our listeners know this, but as a person, when you go up the mountain, you don't get thinner, just the air.
What? Well, I guess if you went up it enough, eventually you would get thinner, but
we hiked a lot on this trip. And I wasn't actually sure if it was an enjoyable trip or if he was trying to kill me. It was one of those two.
Yeah. My family vacations, with teenage boys, it's usually like, my oldest son will be 22 next month, but they usually try to pick something where mommy could die because that's fun. Let's jump off of things and let's zip line. Let's bear hunt. Let's hike the Russian River. Yeah, we've been bear hunting. We've driven
River. Wait,
yes,
what?
In Alaska. Yes. So they usually rock climbing. We try to do something where I could die. It's all good. But okay, so you survived your vacation.
Yeah, well, so I survived all of that because that comedy moment was such a good release for me, and they enjoyed it. It was the best audience, and he finally got a picture of me doing the comedy, and the video gone. I don't know where it went.
Oh no!
Like it's So I'm like, so it didn't. Anyway.
It reminded me too, like, do you know who Chris Wineland? He's a clean comedian. He is on what's their show called on? Is it Thursday mornings?
The morning.
The Morning Laugh.
The Morning Laugh.
Yes. Yeah. So he's with Mike James, Brian Kahatsu, and
Josh
Novi. And so I remember he did the Huckabee show. And the day before the Huckabee show, I hosted a little church show that he did to just work his material out before he did Huckabee. So when Governor Huckabee was interviewing him, he talked about that he'll do comedy anywhere. And he's like, I'll be at Burger King and I'll be like, hey guys, I'm going to do a quick set for you. Like, and that's what it made me think of is like hearing him, because I'm an accommodating person. I'm a non-intrusive person. Like everything about that gives me anxiety. It also reminds me of like my mom who, would talk to people who didn't want to be talked to, and having that uncomfortable, like, oh, mom, just be quiet. Let's go. I don't think I could ever just be like, hey, y'all, I'm June Bug. I want to do some comedy real quick. Like I can't, but I thought it was the coolest thing that Chris does that. Now you've done that on your travels. And
I've always done that. I've always done that because any line that I'm standing in and I'm looking at people and they're all just waiting and it doesn't look like a lot of people are happy, or I either start asking them who they are to get their story, or, in that process, just trying to make them happy and laugh and, and just
I'll try a joke. I'll try a joke on a stranger. Like a one-liner, like I have a joke about my, husband and our anniversary or whatever. And I was in line at CVS and this elderly man was buying a card that said 50th anniversary. And so I commented about, his card and then kind of asked him what the key was to 50 years and started this relationship. And I popped a little one-liner in there and it got like, a fun response. And we talked about this on a previous episode. Like, I don't want to try material out on like comedians. You want to have organic and real conversations with people.
Yeah.
And you don't want to necessarily be pushing that on people all the time. But when you can work it in natural conversation, it is good to be aware of those situations for, good on you, more power to you for you and Chris and other comedians who are like, we're just going to do it. But we've been talking 28 minutes. Okay. So
I know. Okay.
So
wait,
Provo,
I found a picture. Yes.
Okay.
Provo. And so I have a picture of you and I, first. I'm going to show you that picture first, and then
oh yeah,
oh
there it is. It's
wait, sorry,
that's Reba McEntire. And that lady, I have been told before that I kind of look like her, her co-star,
you do,
but I can't think of what the woman's name is. But that's not us. We didn't do a road trip. Okay. Do you have the right picture, Michele?
I do.
There we are. And who are we pointing at?
Okay, so we are standing in front of the DryBar comedy room, and so on the window is Rhonda Corey's, who we're pointing at, and I have her little hand sanitizer with me.
Clean that's right, comedy. You do. Yes.
And before we got to Provo, we stopped off at the Museum of Clean, and I took her little hand sanitizer. It's 3 floors of vacuums, the history of vacuum, the history of cleaning.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, but I put her hand sanitizer in all these displays, and I would take her picture. Like, oh, look at this. I found you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But so Rhonda is a really good friend of ours. And you talk about, we talk about laugh support a lot. This is really fun to be able to go to Provo, to be able to hang out with Rhonda and sit front row and watch her record this super amazing special. Above her in the posters, you've got Andrea. Mm-hmm. How do you say Andrea's last name? I don't want to mess it up.
I want to say Caspada, but I don't know if I'm right.
Caspati. I don't know. I will tell you this much. She is flipping fantastic.
She's amazing.
Fell in love with her. She is. We shared a ride share on the way from the airport to our hotel, and it was an adventure to say the least. And so after that, she became, my other best friend, Michele. So there's competition. I'm just saying. And nice. And it was a great show. The people at DryBar were not only kind to the performers, they're kind to the guests. Mm-hmm. They treated us like we were, just as special as
like we were VIP. Oh, that's right. We bought VIP tickets. Yes. Never mind.
We did buy the VIP tickets. So I guess we got that. But they treated everybody just fantastically. Yes, so we got to have that time.
Where's Haas's picture? He should be
his picture is on the other side of the window. So in this photograph, you don't see, but Haas Ridgway, he did his DryBar as well. And Adam Yinzer is above Rhonda, and he's a writer for the Ellen DeGeneres show. And
so funny.
You could tell he's a writer. Because his writing was wicked awesome. It was so good. It was just a great show. The whole show was amazing. Haas and Adam and Rhonda. But we got to, we just got to be there. And in between all of this, there was one day that I was driving. Yes, there's me and Rhonda doing our model poses in front of the mountains.
We went and ate lunch together. And this is you guys in our car.
And our chauffeur, Ross, he's just like, oh, I'm going to drive him. I'm just going to be the man and just drive the car. And he just let us be goofy us. But we even had fun where we got to the waitress. She was adorable, a beautiful little blonde-headed girl. And she was like, hey, y'all, my boyfriend's here. And it would be really funny, or fiance, I'm sorry. It'd be really funny if you guys mess with him a little bit, if he's still up front when you leave. And I was like, okay, what's his name? And so we got the name of the boy. And then, and I can't remember. Do you remember the kid's name?
No, I don't.
We'll call him Tommy. Okay. She was like, okay, his name is Tommy. And so he walked past and I saw who he was. And so basically he was standing at the counter as we left.
First I harassed him.
Yes. First you harassed him. I looked over and Michele is almost in his back pocket. And she's like, excuse me. And this kid looks at her like, what's going on? And I go, oh my gosh, Rhonda, Michele, look at this kid. I swear to you, you look just like her son. And then Rhonda goes, he does look like Tommy. And the boy was like, your son's name is Tommy? And we're like, you look exactly like her son, Tommy. And he's like, what? But my name is Tommy. And I said, man, we got to take a picture. We got to take a picture. And then we ended up telling him that like the girl's name was Isabella or something. And we were like, yeah, he's got the sweetest girlfriend, Izzy. And he's like,
they're getting married.
My girlfriend, yes, my girlfriend is. He had no idea what was happening to him. We had so much fun. My only regret is that we didn't take a picture with them because they were so stinking cute. But this is what happens when three comedians have lunch together. We end up harassing the waitress's fiance, But we had a great time, and
it was good.
And just to have that experience together, that was huge. And to get to see each other and hang out and eat good food and laugh and I don't know.
The comedy was so much fun. And I'm telling you, I cannot wait to see how they end up editing and when they release Rhonda's DryBar special because it's going to be amazing. It was so much fun there. And we sat through both shows, both tapings. And we laughed at both of them. It wasn't like, we've heard it. It was just as funny the second show as was the first show. I'm so excited for her. I can't wait. We'll have to have
Michele
her back.
Michele has the best laugh too. Like if you're recording a special, you need to pay Michele to sit front row and giggle because it's the best. Try not to laugh right now. It's that. I don't know. I can't do it. It's cute. I haven't about like my kid, like he insults me when I laugh. He's like, you have the weirdest laugh. I'm just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
You do a ha. Like that's what you do.
It is kind of a ha. No, I comment. I'm like, that's right. Or, oh yeah, but like, I agree. I'm an agreeing person, but I don't laugh out loud. And so when I do, I kind of like force it. And so it's just really, I don't know. I'm a comedian with like a weird sense of humor. I don't know. It's interesting. You do. It's interesting. So we caught up a little bit. I mean, we could talk about that trip. We could talk about, all of that for days, but we should probably wrap this one up. You think, Michele?
We should. We're at 35 minutes. So we need to wrap it up.
This is why we can't go so far in between. But hey, definitely check us out. Check us out on YouTube, Laugh Support on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Our Twitter is, go back to our Twitter. Can you go back to that?
Just support laugh.
Yeah. Because they were weird about how we did it on Twitter. So, but yeah, check us out. Like our Facebook or share, whatever, those things that you're supposed to do. And make sure you come back and join us for another episode of Laugh Support. That's it for me. I'm June Colson. Jesus and June Bug loves you. And thank you so much, Michele VanDusen.
God bless. I'm Michele VanDusen. And thanks for listeing.
This has been another episode of
Laugh Support.
Laugh Support. This is our thing. Just whatever. Bye, y'all.
I don't know how to end. We don't know how to hang up. You hang up first.
No, you hang up.
You hang up.
We're done.
You quit listening first. You quit listening.